Hello, you guys.
Hello.
This is a major episode
It's a huge
because
episode.
this is our first episode officially as This Feels Criminal. Woo!
Sorry if you have headphones in and that was painful.
I'm not sorry. You needed to hear it. I hope you're excited. We're excited.
Yes.
And we are excited to bring you the first case under This Feels Criminal. We're going to be talking about Sean Combs. Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy. I think he goes by Love now. I'm not real sure. He's got a lot of names. All of them are stupid.
Yep.
Doesn't matter though. So we're going to talk about the Netflix docuseries produced by the love of my life, 50 Cent.
I know.
The biggest hater of them all.
The biggest, I have to step up my game in 2026. I need to learn to hate like 50 Cent.
Like 50 Cent and like Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
They are my mentors going into 2026. So take that for what it's worth and watch yourself because I'm coming for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're going to talk about The Reckoning. And normally if you are a patron, you know that we do a Doc Jam series where we will kind of recap a documentary over several parts. But this time, we are going to make it a main feed. And we are also going to kind of go beyond the doc a little bit and take a deep dive into some other topics that come up through this. So we hope you like that. We hope you find it interesting. Let us know if you do. And if you don't like it, well, that's hurtful. And just try listening again, you know?
Yeah.
You might change your mind.
Yeah, because, I mean, normally we would really go kind of like scene by scene almost in the documentary.
Yeah.
We are going to not get quite as detailed into the exact things that happen inside the documentary, but then we will do a deeper dive into some of the topics that are raised in this, which is kind of what we are aiming for with This Feels Criminal anyway. We want to dive deeper, kind of look through things with a lens of like, how did this particular thing and there's a lot of topics in here we could explore, so we had to pick.
Absolutely.
You know? But it's this thing is just so crazy, and we wanted to be able to do that on the main feed so we could talk about it with all of you, because
exactly. And I do think this is probably the perfect doc for us to start with, especially under this new name and kind of rebrand, because this one really starts. Okay, so first of all, this documentary is not at all what I expected. I thought this was going to be very much centered around the trafficking case, the federal case that just happened. It is not. Right. That is part of it, but it is literally like the tail end of it, essentially. But we get 4 episodes that really start from the beginning of Diddy's life and just get us all the way up to the trial. And so lots of interesting information in here, I felt like.
I thought so too.
So I thought it was good. I liked it.
I thought so too. I really liked it. There were things in it that I did not know. We have covered previously, like a few years ago now, the murders of Biggie and Tupac. There is also a fantastic show on Netflix. I do not remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they did like a limited series on the investigation into Biggie and Tupac.
One? Yeah.
And kind of from the detective's point of view. Yeah, perspective.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays in It's Always Sunny, you know, the brother with the milk, the one of the what are they?
I don't remember because you asked me.
If you hadn't
asked me, I could have told you.
But one of those, he's one of the main detectives. Josh Duhamel is in it. It's really good. It was really, really well done. So you can always watch that too. I don't remember them focusing much on at the time he was Puffy. I'm sure he was part of it, but we get a lot more information about that in this.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah. And I really like how they literally start in the beginning with his life, because you really truly see this buildup over time.
Exactly.
And as it's going through, I'm like, oh, okay, I see you. I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
And it it was just very interesting.
It
was an interesting take on a very public figure's life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe the bias of this documentary, because this documentary is biased straight up, but if you believe it, you are seeing all of the things about him and how he became who he is that were the darker parts of how he got there. Like, not the things he wanted you to see.
Right.
And I mean, the way that this is portrayed seems 100% legit. Like, it seems very viable, I guess is what I'm saying.
And it lines up with all of the other things that have already come out that other people have said. Like,
yes,
you know, if I'm not saying every part of it is 100% true. Again, like you said, there are biases here, but man, it lines up with a lot of what we already knew.
But some valid points are made.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go ahead and jump into it. We are going to cover episodes 1 and 2 of the docuseries in this episode. So we're going to try to shrink it down and condense it for you a little bit. But we start off with footage of Diddy September 10th, 2024, which I think they said is 6 days before his arrest, maybe. It may have been a few days prior to his arrest. But anyway, you're seeing footage of him prior to him being arrested on these federal charges, right? And he's in a hotel room, and it's very like raw footage, and it opened that way, and I was like, where'd this come from? Like, where'd this footage come from? This is interesting. And there is a cease and desist that has been, well, I don't even know if it's actually been officially put out there, but Diddy's lawyers have alleged that Netflix and the producers of this documentary obtained this footage illegally. The documentary is still up. Netflix and the producers stand by the fact that they legally obtained this footage. So up for debate. But the point is, there is a camera crew at some point prior to his arrest following him around and documenting the days leading up to this. Now, presumably he doesn't know he's about to be arrested. Okay. But you get footage of him talking to his lawyers on the phone, and he's saying things like, I'm fighting for my life out here, and y'all need to think about the message that you're sending, and you need to think like, we got to get in front of this. And you know, the social media is taking over, and like all you're doing is going on CNN or NBC or whatever network he says.
And not everybody watches that. You've got you know, however many people watch CNN, you've got all these people on social media, and you need to find somebody that's going to work with us that knows how to handle dirty media and propaganda and okay.
Yeah, like it's I mean, and it's straight footage of him talking. It does not appear that piece of the conversation is edited in any way.
Right.
If it is, it's very well edited because you don't see like breaks and slices in it. Yeah. He's telling his attorney, you got to get in front of this, which is, I mean, is true to some extent, right? Like, this is a PR situation when you're a high profile person. But he's like telling him how to do his job. He's essentially telling his attorney, you're not doing enough. You're not doing this right. You're not getting in front of it. And that's what I pay you to do. And you need to do that.
Which, okay, hang on. Wouldn't that be a PR team that you would be paying to do that? Your lawyer is your lawyer. Right?
Yes.
I mean, they're going to handle the things in court.
Yeah. But the lawyer is on interviews and stuff like that, talking about the case. So presumably he's saying like, you going on CNN doing this is not enough. You're not doing enough for me. The gist of the conversation is that Diddy is unhappy with the public perception of what he's going through right now. Yeah. And he makes no bones about that.
No. So sad for him. Oh, also, so sad. Thank you to Beth for writing the notes on these 2 episodes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we do get some on-screen text. In 2025, Sean Combs was tried in federal court on charges including RICO, sex trafficking, and violations of the Mann Act. He was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act and was acquitted of the remaining charges. He was sentenced to 50 months in prison with time served. In September 2024, Sean Combs had a videographer follow him while in New York City. During this time, Combs was under federal investigation. The filmmakers obtained this footage after Sean Combs was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically get like a round robin of people talking about what an absolutely entitled asshole Diddy is. I mean, there are just so many people, and these will be the people that are going to then take us through this docuseries. Just he thinks he's above the law. He's entitled to anything that he wants when he wants it, how he wants it. I mean, we all know the cheesecake story from Making the Band, and
oh my God, yes.
you know,
I'd
and that's
forgotten
just
about that until they brought it back up, and I was like, holy crap, I forgot about that.
oh my gosh, just like insane. There's going to be footage of him pitching absolute total fits.
Yeah.
I should have what I want. I should get what I want. And you know, that works for him the other way too. I should get out of anything I want because of the money I have and all that stuff. But then we get into his upbringing. So we go to 1989 in Harlem, New York, and we meet sweet baby Kirk Burroughs.
Sweet baby.
I loved Kirk.
I did too. And he says that he has been with, he calls him Sean. He's like, I've been with Sean since the beginning. They founded Bad Boy together. So we know Bad Boy as Sean Combs.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else. Apparently, there was a somebody else. And that somebody was Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you know, at that time, Diddy is a very different person. He was 19 years old when he dropped out of Howard University because he wants to be in the music industry. He wants to be flashy. He started out dancing in music videos, which I found to be very interesting given his skills.
Dancing skills. I know. I feel like that would be like me being like, I'm going to be a dancer. Absolutely not. And we've seen him on the stage, and we'll talk about that later, his dancing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So at the time, the biggest rapper that is assigned to Uptown Records is a guy called Heavy D. And so Diddy's like, I'm getting in with this guy. I want to be in the business. Uptown Records is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy D is the guy. That's what I'm going for. That's what I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really this area kind of starts to blow up because of this Heavy D rapper. Mm-hmm. And he is just like enthralled by the whole thing. And he's like, I have to be part of this, right?
Yeah.
I did not know that he had gone to a private Catholic school. And I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah.
And while he's in school, he's like, okay, I want to be in this rap scene. I don't know anybody in the rap scene or in the music industry, any of that. So do you know what he does? He goes and he figures out where this Heavy D guy lives, and he just straight up knocks on his door every single day and be like, hi, please take me to meet Andre Harrell, who is the founder of Uptown Records, right? And that is essentially how he gets into the music business, is that he's just
relentless.
Persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there's something to be said for that.
Yes. And also the confidence of somebody who has no experience, has no talent, like has no I'm not saying he wasn't talented in the business side of things, but as far as like rapping, dancing, singing, like all of that kind of stuff, literally everybody was like, oh my God, he sucked. But the confidence this man had to be like, you're going to give me a job. You're going to give me a job. Will you give me a job? Will you give me a job? I'm going to start doing this. Unparalleled. I mean,
it's crazy. And it makes me think of me and you every time we have an idea, how we're like, well, we don't know enough about that. And like, are you sure? And like, but here's a list of 10,000 things that we don't know. Mm-hmm. That means that we shouldn't do this. And then there's people out here like Puff who are like, I've got an idea and we're doing it. Yeah. And I'm like,
and the only thing,
he wasn't a good artist. He didn't know anything about the music industry. He just knew that he wanted it and he was going to get it.
Exactly.
And so I think maybe you and I need a little more of that.
I know. Except
we got to start doing what that one girl did, where we go to a male therapist to learn how to have the audacity.
Well, I mean, that's,
Apparently the key is just watching F1 drivers, according to her therapist. But anyway, so that's how he gets in, is he just persistently knocks on this dude's door and he's like, take me to meet Andre Harrell. And so he finally does. Mm-hmm. And Diddy impresses Andre enough to get an internship. So he doesn't hire him on. He's like, sure, you can be an intern. Now, at the time, Heavy D is on this label. Also, Al B. Sure. And he was the first artists to chart the Billboard charts from Uptown, right? So he is like their first big star, I guess. Not local. So Heavy D was big, but he was big locally. Al B. Sure takes off. And at the time, Al B. Sure is dating none other than our girl Kim Porter.
I was like, oh, because
and they show a picture of her, and I was like, damn, Kim, okay.
Oh my God, I know Kim.
God, she was gorgeous.
God, if I looked like that, you couldn't tell me shit.
Could not tell me shit.
This is the beginning of a pattern that he is going to follow, which is, and I could not believe this because, again, this is a guy who is just trying to get his foot in the door, right? He's trying to do anything he can to like get in with this crowd, work his way up or whatever. He is low on the totem pole still. He's doing an internship.
He is the intern. He's making the coffee. He's running the mail.
Al B. Sure is their #1 artist. He's hit #1 on the Billboard charts. He's their first platinum artist. Kim Porter is Al's girl.
Yep.
What does he do? Diddy, Puffy, whatever you want to call him, because he's just so many. He decides that he's going to go after her. And so all the time, he's like, give me a kiss. Let's go on a date. Come on, just give me a kiss, like whatever. Which, wouldn't that be like incredibly disrespectful?
One would think.
But he didn't care. Like he was was actively trying to go after her. And this is the thing. I don't know this to be fact, but this is the pattern he follows. He doesn't want Kim. He wants Al's girl.
Yes.
He wants to be able to take what you have, and he gets it because of whatever that tells him in his brain. I'm better than them. I'm more attractive than them. I'm more talented than that person. I've got more, whatever it is. Like I was good enough to steal your girl from you.
Yeah, exactly. Which is an interesting complex to have. And especially because, okay, so here we're going to dive into it in this next part, but so they describe him like his friends at the time. I think it's still Kirk that's talking to us about this, but he says Diddy didn't drink. He didn't do drugs. He didn't do anything like that. Super straight-laced guy.
I was so surprised to hear that. I was like,
me too. He described him as a, quote, scholastic dweeb. And I was like, first of all, I love that. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And so I think he's got this complex. It seems to me at this point, he's got this complex of, okay, I'm not the most masculine guy here. I'm not the most attractive guy here. I'm not the best dancer. I'm not the best singer. I'm not the best rapper. I'm not the best whatever. But if I can take from the person who is, well, then obviously that means I am still better than them.
Yes.
Like he's got this complex of, he's got an inferiority complex.
100%.
He sees the people around them and he's comparing himself to everyone around him.
Yes.
And he's feeling like he doesn't measure up. And in order to put himself on their level, he has to take something from them.
Exactly. He has to take something from them. And he was also just so manipulative even this early on because remember, he's working for Andre. Andre gets this like mansion. Like he's, because he's doing well. Like this is his record label is taking off. And so he makes himself invaluable to Andre. And then the day that Andre like closes on this house or whatever, and he's about to move in, Diddy is like, oh, I got kicked out of my house. I don't have anywhere to go. I need to come stay with you for a little bit. And apparently he moved in before Andre even moved into the house that he bought. And so now he's living in this big mansion and like he's getting all these, finer things like, and Andre treated him like a son.
Yes. Yeah. He was very good at manipulating himself. He was very good at making himself invaluable to people and then taking advantage of it.
Yes.
Now, making yourself indispensable is 100% a strategy, and it's not always a bad one. And it doesn't always have to be like a malicious, manipulative, bad thing. But he takes it to the next level because he's like, well, now you can't do this without me. He makes you think that you can't do this without him.
And then he exploits
uses that to take, and then uses that to get what he wants.
And that's his goal in the beginning. He's not, his goal in the beginning is not, I want to work hard because my name is on this and it's important to me for to do well and I want to give our customer, our artist, or our, our listeners, whatever, the best experience they can. It's I need to do this, and that so that then I can take everything that he has.
Yes.
For myself.
And that starts very early in his childhood. And so we go back to 1977 and we hear from Tim Patterson, who is a guy who was like his neighbor. They lived in the same building. They basically grew up like brothers. There are pictures of them together when they're real little, like outside where they live. And it's actually real cute. And they've got like their, it's so 70s.
Yes.
Like they've got their little bell bottoms and their little hat. Like it's so cute. But Tim says, in my household, my dad taught me right from wrong. And he says, Sean didn't have that. He didn't have a dad who was around. He only had his mom, Janice. And Diddy's father was a guy named Melvin, and he was murdered. And they believe he was killed because of his involvement in drug dealing. Mm-hmm. Now, we never get official confirmation that that was the case or what. I don't know. The doc doesn't really get into that too much, but that is the lore, let's say, of Diddy's dad. And that is what Diddy built up in his head. In his mind, he believes that his dad was this like big time drug dealer, kingpin kind of guy, like very respected in the streets and like has lots of credibility and feared and like all of these things, right? So that is the perception he has of this father that he does not know and has never known, okay? His mom is Janice. She throws lots of lavish parties at her home, okay? She even has a stage in her living room. And she would have Diddy and Tim get up there and like dance and like at these parties and like kind of show off and stuff. And of course, all of the grownups are like, oh, look at those babies. They're doing so good. Do that. That's so good. And so he started getting attention from that, obviously. He likes the attention. Mm-hmm. This attention doesn't seem to really get to Tim. He's like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. Like, it's a fun thing to do. Also, the way he's describing this and knowing that we're talking about 1977, like, this does not seem like a child-appropriate event.
Yes. The whole thing did not sit well with me. They did not elaborate.
No.
But it did not it sounded at the best inappropriate.
Yeah. And Tim goes on to say that Sean is like a really goofy kid. He gets picked on by a lot of other people and he doesn't know how to defend himself at all. Essentially, he gets bullied a lot and is real wimpy. And Tim says that Janice, Sean's mom, would like beat the crap out of him. And he was like, to the point that it made me scared.
Yeah. And and look, this is the 70s. Tim was like, my parents, I don't think he used the word beat.
He said I got some beatings.
Yeah, I got some beatings, but his scared me. Like, that it was different.
Exactly. And he's noticing this as a child. Mm-hmm. So basically what he's saying is every time Diddy got beat up, his mom would also then beat the crap out of him and be like, if somebody hits you, you have to hit them back harder. You have to them up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, he's a baby. He's a baby. He's a child.
Well, and also Tim said, okay, so he did start learning to fight back, but he didn't fight fair. If he was going to fight you, he was going to fight dirty. He was going to bite your ear. He was going to bite you or cut your ear off or like, whatever. Yeah. He was like,
hit you with the Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just like, that's not, because he's just not, he's not actually tough. He's just wants to undercut and figure out any way to like get around that.
Well, and this seems like this part you really start to see like, okay, he doesn't have a dad that's present. He has this notion of who he thought his father was. We don't really know what that's founded on. I don't know what his mom was telling him or what other people were telling him about who his dad was, but he's got this idea that his dad was this big time tough guy, ran the streets, whatever. And his mom is also telling him to toughen up. So he's got daddy issues for sure. He's trying to live up to some expectation of a father that he doesn't even know exists. And his mom, he's got mommy issues now too, because she's telling him, essentially, you need to be more of a man, but there's no one in his life showing him what that means.
Right.
And so he's figuring it out on his own, the only way he knows how.
Mm-hmm.
And so this part of it did make me feel bad for him because he's a little kid at this point.
Exactly.
Like, he is a child at this point.
You can see how these things got solidified in his mind and how he felt like, you know, as children, we develop coping mechanisms, whatever they are. And that is what these are the things that he developed that he felt like, okay, these things are keeping me safe. Like, I have to protect myself this way or that way. As he gets into adulthood, though, those things don't change, and they are now maladaptive, and they are harmful, and they go off the rails. Like, absolutely go off the rails.
Well, and they're able to go off the rails because he continues to gain money and gain power. And therefore, no one checks his bad behavior, which essentially, like, it's a pattern that you're going to see as we go through this.
Yes, 100%. They did contact his mom for a statement. She did not respond. I have seen that she's put out statements since then, but we'll talk about that at the end because we don't have all the information. The first lawsuit that we hear about is filed in November of 2023 by Joy Dickerson Neal. And this was filed under the New York State Adult Survivors Act. And her lawsuit alleges that she was drugged and assaulted by Combs in 1991. So that's one of the first among more than 100 civil cases filed against him. And basically, she meets him in the 90s. She's kind of friends with him. She knows him. And her job at that time was to promote music videos. He was good at promoting parties and stuff like that. But she's like, they were all about himself, which is another pattern that we will see established. And she had gone to a party, and essentially she helps him clean up after this party. It had become a big mess or whatever. And he's like, oh, hey, I have this music video, and I had a dancer or somebody back out. Do you want to come do the music video with me? And she's like, I don't know. Like, that's not really what I do. I do behind the scenes stuff. And he's like, come on. So she does. She goes and appears in this video. And she's telling us about this. And then the producer says, was there ever a time that he you? And she's like, yeah, actually, somebody called me. So she didn't know.
She didn't know.
She did not know. But the reason that she found out was because somebody called her and said, hey, he has a video where he is you. You appear to be intoxicated or passed out, but he's showing this video at parties.
Yeah.
This is insane to me. And this just shows you how many people, like, you can't fathom in your mind. Say we were at a party somewhere and somebody showed a video like that. We would be like, excuse me? I'm calling the police. What is happening? Like, this is not okay, right? But he is showing this video to lots of people. Lots of people saw that video. One person notified her about it. And as far as I can tell, nobody else was like, this is sick. What are you doing? Or anything like that. Nobody reports it. There are so many people that are willing to turn a blind eye for lots of different reasons. And we will talk about different reasons as we go through this. But it is astonishing how many people will not stand up against something like that. And it really, really does make this... we've already said there's more than 100 lawsuits filed against him for this type of behavior. And he was showing these videos at parties. And Kirk says that I think maybe somebody, would do something like this because he said there's this guy, Alpo Martinez, a drug lord, famous Harlem Street guy. He would hang out at the rooftop. He would tape girls he had sex with, and he would put it up on the screen. And what Sean saw when he saw that was someone, like, he wanted to be looked at as someone who had that kind of stature, who could do that sort of thing, who had that kind of control over people, and who was so feared that nobody would check him or question him or whatever.
Well, and this goes back to him thinking, oh, well, that's who my dad would have been. That's something that my dad would have done and gotten away with.
I've got to puff up.
Yeah. So I should be able to do that too.
Yeah. And
so strange.
Yeah. And at the time of this airing, Joy's lawsuit is still pending. Of course, he denies this, but we're going to hear that a bunch of times too. And like, really? Okay. So then he goes to, in December 1991, the City College of New York. Now, this is something I felt like we should have already known about. I did not know about this.
I did not know about this either. Yeah, had no idea. So in 1991, Diddy decides that he's going to throw a celebrity basketball game in Harlem. And he partners, I think, with Heavy D on this one. Obviously, like the people from Uptown Records are going to be some of the celebrities and like some music industry people. So sorry. He's like, you know, this is going to be great for the city. This is going to be a great like little fundraiser type thing, whatever. We're hoping to do this annually. Like this is going to be so great. And somebody in here, I can't remember who says it, says if that had been done correctly, it would have gone down in history and this thing would still be going on. Like it had the potential to be such an incredible event and it just went so horribly awry.
Yeah, he girl bossed way too close to the sun.
He girl bossed way too close to the sun. Let's remember, he's a party promoter. Okay. He wants this to be about him. All of the parties he promotes are about him. He calls them Daddy's house or something. Come to Daddy's house to party. It's gross. Anyway, so he's promoting this party. I'm gonna be there. I throw great parties. My parties are exclusive. It's a lot to get into these parties, but I'm throwing this basketball game, and you can buy tickets to come to that, and that's open to everybody.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
So people are lined up around this, and this is in a college town. Okay. So people are lined up around the building and more people start showing up and they realize there are not enough room. And so when the doors open, people just bum rush the door.
Yep.
People stampede in. It's just like the Astro World situation, right?
Yep.
They rush the doors and people start getting trampled. They're crushed. It's insane.
I could not believe this. People died. I had never heard of this.
9 people died. 9 people died at this thing. It's insane. And you see footage of like people are laid out in the gymnasium floor. Ambulances are like medics are in trying to help people. Other people are carrying people out who aren't like severely injured. People are like, you see people doing CPR.
Yeah.
There are bodies that are covered up and he's just kind of standing there in the gym and he's like, just like farting around.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, this is so bad.
Oops.
Essentially, what happened is he overhyped and overpromoted this party and there was not enough crowd control. And of course he goes on, like he does like a little press conference type thing. And he's like, you know, I'm carrying the weight of this. And all I wanted was to bring people together. And, you know, we couldn't have seen this happening. And we are so upset about the tragedy. He says a bunch of nothing, honestly. But this is how he gets famous. I had no idea. This is what skyrockets him. This is how his name gets out there.
This is and he so you know that after this he was going around being like, you know that basketball game
that party?
And yeah, that was me. I'm the one that arranged that. Did you see how many people showed up to that?
Exactly.
Like, you know, he exploited that, which is disgusting.
Well, also disgusting. At this point, he goes and stays at a hotel with his mom. Because of all of the stuff that's going on, right? Like people know where he lives. So they're trying to get away. And his mom questions him about this, about what happened.
Yeah.
And he calls her a bitch and he slaps her across the face.
And there were witnesses to.
There were witnesses, yes. But the filmmakers do reach out to him regarding this accusation. And of course he doesn't respond.
Yeah. And of course, like Andre, he's living with him. He's working for the record label. Andre fights for him. He takes up for him, like all of this stuff. He ends up putting, at this time, you know, Sean in charge of several other acts, including Mary J. Blige. I didn't
realize that he was in charge of Mary J. Blige. But also,
idea.
We got a nice little Jodeci moment in there. And I was like, Casey and JoJo, oh my God.
Yeah, it was. This is like a trip down memory lane for sure.
Oh my God, I know.
And he ends up getting promoted to VP of A&R and Artist Development. He ends up, he becomes friends with Sermon. This one I'm not familiar with. Okay.
Same.
And he ends up, so Sermon was dating this woman, Misa. Sean goes after her because of course he does.
They hit it off. They start dating. And Sermon and Misa stay friends even after they break up.
Yeah. And just friends. Like, he's like, we're just friends. There's nothing going on, you know,
right.
whatever. But Sean can't handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And he says when he started dating Misa, she became his property.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that because we've seen that. We have unequivocal evidence that is how he treats women that he is in a relationship with. Okay?
Correct. Yes.
So we know that this is how he is now. And it started a long time ago. So Misa is now his property. She's not allowed to do anything without his approval or whatever. And he said there was one time where she had like gotten in his truck or something for a ride in Sermon's truck. Like they were together.
Yeah.
And Sean finds out, flips out, and is beating her on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
In the street.
Yeah. Well, and he also, at that point, is that where he takes him around the corner?
Oh.
Is that incident?
No, I might be conflating the two. There was a time
I think you're thinking about something else. Where he pulled the guy out of the truck. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was another time that he tried to beat up Sermon.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm gonna hit you or whatever. I'm gonna whatever. And Sermon was like, I laughed in his face because who do you think you're talking to? Like, he's like, again, this guy is not tough. And he takes me around the corner, and that's when he tells me about Biggie. So that's, those are two separate incidents. Okay. But I was very upset.
Though, he beat her in the street.
In the street. There were people watching. People had to pull him off of her.
Yep.
And Kirk says, you know, they stayed together after that. Their son, Justin, was born a couple years later. And he was like, you know, I just tried to push that incident to the back of my mind. Like, it was a bad moment for him. It was a weak moment for him. And that really, really, that killed me because if women can do this too, by and large, it is a man committing this type of violence against their partner. And again, women do it as well.
Yes.
But especially men, I think, have that tendency to be like, it's none of my business. Oh, he just lost his temper. Like, he's never done that to me, so that doesn't make him a bad guy or whatever. Like, we have to see this kind of behavior and call it out because, I mean, look at how it escalates.
Yeah.
But if a man can beat the out of a woman in front of people, mind you, that was in front of people.
On the public street.
Which
in front of people he does not know.
Yeah, which means that whatever he is doing behind closed doors is 20 times worse than that because you don't want anybody to see everything about you out in public, especially people like this. So he can't even tuck it in, keep it hidden long enough to not beat the shit out of her in front of a bunch of people that he doesn't know. That's a terrible human being.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a person who is going to escalate, who is like, you have to call that shit out. Like, hey man, that is not okay. What is going on?
And Kirk says in this, he's like, I feel awful for not saying anything. And he says, you know, he asked me to be the godfather of his child. And I was like, of course, this is my friend. And he was like, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, but what about that? And then I think, like you said, he was able to kind of be like, well, this is the first time I've seen him do this. So maybe this is the first time it's happened and just like kind of tuck it away. But obviously knowing what Kirk knows now and we'll find out more stuff about Kirk later. And he's like, you know, it's one of my biggest regrets. And he's like, you could say I was in the Diddy cult at the time. I would have protected him against anything at that time.
Exactly.
And he was like essentially he says, you know, I was brainwashed by him.
Yeah.
And by everything that's happening around me. I didn't.
Yes.
Yeah. And in hindsight, he feels awful.
Yeah.
I believe that too.
Yeah. Because I think there are situations where like, and look, all of us know somebody who's been in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. So if all of us know somebody who's been in an abusive relationship, then more men are abusive than you think they are, right? Like you just don't know it because they keep it behind closed doors as much as they can.
Yes.
This man is a whole different level. He is abusive to everyone around him. Mm-hmm. He is a manipulator of everyone around him. Yeah. And he is abusive in a lot of different ways to everyone around him. And Kirk is not an exception, and we will talk about it. But it's just, I do think that there is, you know,
Yeah, he's one of those people that if you're on his radar at all, if you're anywhere in the circle, it doesn't matter if you're close in the circle or if you're far away in the circle. If you are in the circle, you are at risk.
Yes, 100% you're at risk.
Of being manipulated in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course during this time, so his head is starting to get bigger and bigger. He's starting to think he's, the freaking cow's moo. And he starts getting into it with Andre. He starts disagreeing with Andre on how to run the record label and like all of these things. They end up getting into it. Andre ends up having to fire him, but he allows him to take Biggie with him. Because at that point, Biggie had signed with Uptown.
Yep.
And he was going to let Puff keep him and manage him or be his producer.
Yes. But I believe they had to buy the album from him.
Yeah,
from Uptown.
they had to pay.
They were like, you can, because Uptown had already made the record.
Yeah.
So the record was already made. It wasn't out yet. But the deal was you can take Biggie, but you have to buy the album to go with him. So they figured it out, and they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we are in Brooklyn. Now we're going to talk about the Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah. And this is how...
I forgot... I was going to say, and I forgot watching this footage of him. I forgot how young he was. I mean, I knew he was young when he died.
Yeah.
But like you see the footage of him and you're like, oh my God, you were a baby.
A baby.
You were a baby.
A wee little baby.
A wee little baby.
Yeah.
And so was Tupac, but Tupac looked older.
Yeah.
Like he had a more mature look. Biggie looked like a baby.
Yeah, he really, really did. This is how Bad Boy Records is born. So he wanted to name it Bad Boy Records because he wanted to like go against the grain. I mean,
he's trying to build up the persona still of what he thinks
like
he
you
should
could just see it all playing out. Like my dad was a hard ass, I'm a hard ass. I'm gonna call it Bad Boy, whatever.
Yeah.
So he did not put any of it in his own name though, because of all of the Harlem basketball game stuff. He didn't want anybody coming after this asset and the record label and all that kind of stuff. So it was 25% in Kirk Burroughs' name. He got 25% in stock. Janice had 75%. So, and Kirk said, this is when I really noticed the big change in him. He was not Sean anymore. He was more like the person that he is today. So they did a deal for approximately $10 million. 1.5 goes to Sean directly. 1.5 was supposed to be overhead. And then he was like, to Kirk, you can keep whatever you can keep out of it, but you got to
you got to make the business run.
Yeah, you got to make the business run first.
So Kirk was the behind the scenes guy. He kept the accounting. He literally kept the business running. Bad Boy would not be anything if not for Kirk. Arguably, it wouldn't be anything without Diddy either because they had two very different roles, right? So Diddy was out there promoting it, pushing it, finding the artists, doing all of the things. But business-wise, on the back end, Bad Boy doesn't exist without Kirk.
Right.
He makes sure the bills get paid, all the things, right?
Right. And this is where I think it was Kirk that said, Sean wanted to be a strong man. He was industry-wise. He was a good business person. I mean, not like ethical, but a good business person. He's growing this business, but he's not streetwise. And so they were like, that's what we called a paper gangster. And I was like, that's so funny because that's exactly what he is. Because he's scary when he's behind that desk. Later, he becomes scary all the time for sure. But he's scary when he's behind that desk to other people because he has power. He doesn't have the fear that he could put in people the way that he wanted.
Yeah.
But he had power because now he's getting money and he's getting bigger in the business and all of that kind of stuff. We talk more about the whole, Biggie situation. So Biggie was obviously making music, but they said it was a slower start. Tupac was exploding. Yeah. Just like Hansel. He's so hot right now. And so it's like everything was about Tupac, and Diddy was absolutely like mesmerized. Like he wanted to take everything that Tupac did and everything that Death Row did, and he wanted to emulate, like he wanted to, what was the formula of that? We do the same thing. He's not coming up with his own ideas.
No, he's not
recreating.
recreating. And again, that people do that in marketing all the time. Like that's what trends are.
Yeah.
When something is trending, you copy and paste.
Mhm.
That's it. That's what Diddy does though.
Yeah.
But interestingly to me, I don't know that we ever see him have any unique idea of his own
No,
at this point,
No.
at least.
I don't think so.
Because they say, you know, we would sit and we would watch Tupac videos and we would listen to Tupac songs and we were studying. They were watching film, y'all.
Exactly. That's exactly
How do we
what they were
replicate
doing.
this? What's the formula? How do we make it happen? And it's just so funny because everybody, when you think of Biggie and you think of Tupac, you think of this feud. And it wasn't that. I mean, not initially, it wasn't.
Yeah, not at the beginning. And they were, according to all of these people, Biggie and Tupac were friends at this point. Biggie would open for Tupac. They had a good relationship. They had a good connection. But where does the wedge come in? It comes in because Diddy can't handle them being friends and him feeling like he's a little bit on the outside. This is some peak personality disorder.
Oh my God, yes. And Tupac does not like Diddy. And he makes it clear that he does not like him. He wants to be friends with Biggie. He wants to support Biggie. He does support Biggie. He's like, I think he's great. I don't like Diddy and I'm not going to work with him.
And then what does somebody like that have to do? They have to cut that guy out, because if that guy is speaking the truth about you to this guy, you've got to make this guy think that the one telling you the truth is the bad guy, is the enemy, is the villain. And now we've got to have a wedge.
I also think he did not like Tupac because Tupac was very likable. People liked him.
And successful.
He was likable. He was successful. Girls loved him. He had, let's be real, he was all of the things that Diddy wanted to be.
Exactly.
He was the artist, so he was the center of attention. The ladies loved him. The guys loved him. He was charismatic and engaging. And I mean, he was smart. He was educated. He was in movies and music.
Yep.
You know, he really had it all going on. And then he met Diddy. And Diddy was like, oh my God, this is going to be so amazing. And Tupac was like, I don't like you, man.
Yeah.
And you know that had to be a blow to his ego.
Oh, 100%. And he can't handle that. He cannot handle that at all. And he starts getting more and more, I don't want to say angry, but like disenchanted or whatever with Tupac. Yes. He doesn't want him coming around. There starts to be this friction, and it seems to be coming from Diddy, but he's causing friction with Tupac and Biggie as well. But there is a time that Tupac shows up to the recording studio.
Yes.
The Bad Boy studio. Now, who would have known that was happening?
We're not going to name names, but there would be people who would know that was happening.
And then Tupac is shot out front of the studio.
Yep.
Now, this is not when he dies, which again, I didn't know he was shot in close proximity to Diddy before he died.
He gets shot 5 times this time, I think. Yeah. November 30th of 94, he gets shot 5 times.
Insane.
And so the version of this, you hear from one of the guys who was at the studio. It was called Quad Studio. So Tupac is going there to do a verse or a song or whatever it is you do at a studio. I don't know. So the guy that sees him, I think, what was that guy's name? I can't remember. Okay, there's a guy who is with Biggie, and he steps outside, and there's like a balcony area, and he's out on the balcony, and he sees Tupac down there, and he's like, "Oh my God, hey, we didn't know you were didn't know you were gonna be here, whatever." He's like, "Come up, man, like come see us." And this guy says that he goes into the studio because he's in there with Biggie, and he tells Biggie, "Hey, Pac's downstairs. I told him to come up." And he says, they're like, "Oh, cool, didn't know he was gonna be here, whatever." He says he goes down the elevator to meet him in the lobby, to like go get him and tell him where they're at. And he says the doors to the lobby open. There are 2 guys standing there, big guys with guns, that say, "Get back in the elevator." And he was like, "I don't have a clue what's going on." I get back in the elevator and I go upstairs because like I'm not trying to be a part of whatever is about to happen here. And that is when Tupac gets shot. Interesting.
And they're like, who would have known that he was going to pull up to the studio right then? How did these people know?
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
Diddy denies having anything to do with this, whatever. But
Yeah.
they said that, he says he had nothing to do with it. They say that Tupac was vilified while he was alive, but Puff was exalted. And that's a story that hasn't been told. We do get a story from Kirk Burroughs. I mean, okay, so Diddy's behavior is, it's just going off the rails. And there's one point where, because remember, Kirk is like running the record label. Diddy calls him into his office one day for nothing.
Yeah. Well,
he's like,
doesn't know that at the time.
Yeah. He's like, hey, come in here. And he's getting a from, was it the girl at the front desk or?
I don't know who the girl was, but Diddy was at his desk.
Yeah.
And the girl was just
giving him a and he's like, okay.
Oh, I'll come back.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll come back. And he's like, no, you don't have to come back. You can stay. And he's like, what did you need me for? He's like, nothing.
Yeah. So like literally, this is a power move.
Yeah, he just wanted him to see it. Like, look at what I can
I just want you to see what I'm able to do. I just want you to know.
It's so
like,
yucky.
what was so weird. And then there's another day where Diddy walks into Kirk's office and he's got a baseball bat and a suitcase in his hand. And he wants him to sign over. He wants Kirk to sign over his 25% in stocks back to Diddy because there's some there's some deal he's trying to do and he needs the stocks to be able to like get the money to do it or whatever, to have like, I guess, cash in hand kind of thing. And he's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to give it back to you. I'm going to give it back to you. I just got to have it right now. And Kirk was like, can I look over this? Or like, I don't know. Like he had reservations about it. Right. And he says, he's standing over my shoulder with a baseball bat being like, no, you have to sign this now.
Right.
And he's like, I obviously didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I was confused by the whole thing. I'm feeling threatened by this whole thing. But all of this is confusing because it's very out of nowhere. Like what we haven't talked about any deal that we don't have. Like, please keep in mind, Kirk is the person who manages the accounts. He knows what money's there.
Exactly. And he's like, we got to do this right now. And so he ends up signing it over and he continues to work. So like now he's got
no ownership
and he continues to do his work. And then we get a little information about, at this point they are taking on more artists. Or at least Diddy's exact formula would be to take on an artist, be like, I'm going to make you a star. And he was viewed for a very long time as your entrance into the music industry. He was going to make you big. They
called him the gatekeeper.
Yeah, and he had been doing that. He had been taking artists and turning them into stars. So if you got an invitation by him or signed to his label or whatever, you were like, holy crap, I've made it. Okay.
Yes.
So he would do this with artists and he would give them a big advance. He'd give them some advance of like money that, they've never seen before. They're just starting out in the music industry or whatever. But then he never would give them anything else. So these people are like winning Grammys, becoming platinum artists. They're like, I don't have any money to show for that. Yep. And that's what he would do over and over and over. And then he would appear in your music videos. He would appear on your tracks, but then he would pay himself for that because he's doing work. So then he would get more money from that. And he would hide it in their earnings and like.
Well, and he charged them studio time too.
That's right, because he owned the studio. And so you're paying him. He's double, triple dipping all the way around. Yeah. People are his artists are starting to become disenchanted. They do not appreciate this. They're, over time, they're like, something's not right here. Like, I shouldn't be, quote unquote, doing this well and then having absolutely nothing to show for it. Like, where is the money going?
Well, this part was interesting too, because, they talk about he would be in your video. Well, then you had to pay him. He would ad lib on a track. Well, now you got to pay him. Okay, but did you want him in your video? Did you want him on your track?
Exactly. And the answer appears to be no, but you didn't have a choice. And at this time, so Bad Boy is doing pretty well, but Bad Boy is completely built on Puffy, and he is the center of attention, right? Yeah. Like your record label, I would think. Yeah. Your artist should be kind of the spotlight because they are the talent and what
the artist is what makes the record label money.
Exactly. But that's not the case with Bad Boy. With Bad Boy, it's all about Puffy. On the other hand, you've got Death Row Records where Suge Knight is now heading up. And so Suge Knight has entered the chat But he actually takes care of his artists, and they don't force themselves into every video and song and everything like that. But his artists are happier. His artists are, making more money and all of that kind of stuff. So now we've kind of got this beef here because one of his artists, Craig Mack, wasn't happy at Bad Boy. Death Row was kind of courting him, but Sean finds out about it, and he ends up getting so scared he doesn't move to Death Row.
Correct. And Death Row is opening like an East Coast. I mean, it's still the same label, but I guess like an office maybe. So they're expanding essentially, and that's partly why they're courting this guy, right?
Yeah.
And so then we get to August 3rd, 1995 at the Source Awards, and Suge Knight gets on stage and he gives this an acceptance speech about something, and in it he says, if there's anybody out there who wants to be a star and not have your what does he say, is it your executive producer or whatever, your producer or whatever, in all your videos, then you need to come to Death Row. Essentially, he knows what's happening with the artists at Bad Boy, and he just says point blank to everyone, look, if you want to make money, if you don't want your record label taking everything from you, come to Death Row. That's not how we treat our artists.
Yeah. And I feel like he had to have been looking Puffy right in the eye when he said it. Because he's sitting right there in the audience.
Dead in his face. I know he did, because if I know one thing about Suge Knight, and I don't know a lot of things about Suge Knight, is that he don't give not one single not one single one. I also know that he is a very bad man. However, in this documentary, turns out he's not the baddest man.
Yeah, see,
and I never thought I'd see the day.
I know. This is how bad Diddy is, that he actually makes you, quote unquote, almost root for.
I know.
In this context, somebody like Suge Knight, who, you're like,
arguably not great.
Exactly. So then Puffy gets up there and he's like, I'm a positive black man and I want to fight, in the fight between the East and West. And, I'm not going to come up here. I'm the producer he was referring to, but I'm not going to say anything but good things about Death Row and their artists. I want everybody united or whatever. Like, such a performative. He's not good. Well, I guess he's kind of good at it because a lot of people liked him and all of that kind of stuff. But like, when you see it now, you're just like, but it's so performative.
So performative.
Like,
well, and then you hear Kirk say after, like, they get done talking about, the Source Awards thing, and Kirk comes on and he says, Diddy remembers every single slight.
Everyone.
Whether he reacts to it in the moment or not, and typically he does not react to it in the moment, but he doesn't forget.
He's an elephant. He never forgets.
Never forgets. And so then we get to Atlanta 7 weeks after the Source Awards have happened, right? There's a guy who's like working the door at a club called Platinum House, and he says every Friday night they had a Bad Boy party. Oh my God, do you remember when clubs used to have parties? Yeah, Mark Curry. Do you remember when clubs used to have parties, like theme nights?
Ugh.
What a time to be alive. You Gen Zers, I'm sure you're not listening because we're not your jam. But if you are a Gen Zer and you're listening, y'all are missing out on the club life, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You don't know what you're missing, and I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, that
you should find a millennial.
Like business attire.
I know. You need to find a millennial mentor one night to just take you out for a fun night, okay? We need a buddy system. We got to partner up.
You won't remember it later.
You won't remember it, but you'll have a good time, I promise.
Yep.
We got to show these kids how to live at least once in their life,
I know.
Also, we're getting old, so we're going to have to do that quick because the turnaround time is a lot tighter.
Yeah.
So they're having this Bad Boy party, right? And Puffy's there. Suge Knight ends up coming with a friend named Jake, and they get to the door and they're looking for Diddy, right? So they say, like, Diddy used to go after people's side chicks. Like, that was his thing. He wouldn't go after your main girl at this point. Before he would go after your main girl. But like, he was real big on, like, he would steal your side piece kind of guy, right? And so he's out there, and Suge has a girl, a little side piece in Atlanta. And Diddy knows that, and he knows Suge's coming, so this is a setup is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So Diddy asks Kirk, hey, I need you to take $50,000 out of our overhead because I'm going to buy this girl a diamond necklace. Specifically because she's Suge Knight's girl. That's the only reason. And so they're all at this club now. They've all convened at this club. Suge and Jake get escorted out of the club by an off-duty police officer, and Puff comes out, and a guy comes out, and he's got one hand behind his back, and he's holding a pistol, and he touches Jake, that is Suge's friend, with the pistol, and he looks at Suge, dead in his eyeballs, and he shoots Jake 5 times, which is wild behavior. Wild.
Insane.
And so Suge grabs Puff, puts him in a chokehold because he doesn't want to get shot at, right?
Yeah.
So he's
And
essentially
he knows,
using him as a shield kind of thing,
next.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows. There's no
And he knows that
denying what's happening.
Yeah, and he knows that Puffy set this up. I mean,
100%. Yeah. It's
based
very
on
obvious.
him putting Puffy in front of him, he knows this man is not going to shoot him.
Exactly. So the shooter runs off, and Jake ends up dying from the wounds he suffers a couple of days later. And apparently, I did not know this. This is essentially what kicks off this East Coast, West Coast battle of the rappers. And honestly, that's not surprising to me.
Yeah.
After Tupac gets shot, he also has a rape case going on, and he ends up being convicted of the and he gets acquitted of some other serious charges. But he is in jail. And while he's in jail, Bad Boy and everyone else names Tupac an enemy, essentially. So he's already locked up. There's nothing he can do. He becomes enemy number 1 of all East Coast affiliations.
Wow.
Pac is like, I gotta have somebody stand with me. And Suge Knight's got his own issues with Diddy. And so he goes to visit Tupac. Suge Knight goes to visit Tupac while he's in jail. So at this point, I guess Tupac and Suge weren't just like super tight. And then we get to October 95. Tupac gets out on bail. They make a record, and it immediately shoots to the top of the charts. And when they said Tupac was out on bail, I immediately was like, out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. And they did not play the song, and that was very upsetting, but it's fine. While this is happening, Diddy is trying everything in his power to upset Biggie. He's trying to rile him up. He's trying to be like, Pac's the enemy. He's coming after you. He's talking all of this crazy about you. You got to get mad. And Biggie's like, nah, listen, I'm not engaging in this. This is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. Like, that's my friend.
Yeah.
Y'all can have whatever beef you're going to have. Like, that's not me. I'm not in this, right? But then Tupac makes a song called Hit 'Em Up.
Great song.
It's a great song. But in this song, he calls out Bad Boy. And specifically, he alleges that he slept with Biggie's wife, who was Faith Evans. And, you know, that kind of gets some things stirred up. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so now everybody's mad at everybody. Then we get to June 1996, and they go into this incident further in detail. Again, we have covered this night extensively in another episode, so we'll kind of cut it short, but this is the night that
Tupac is killed, right?
Which day did I say? Did I say June? No. This was the Vegas fight. So there was a fight. But then in September 1996, September 7th, Suge and Tupac are in a car together. They are driving. This is when Tupac is killed. Keefe D has been implicated in this, which I think, was it like last year maybe, or very recently? This all kind of came out with the Keefe D stuff. That, like
a year or two ago.
Yeah, and he says that he like never got compensated for it. He claims that it was Puffy and you know, that was like, I'll pay you for this. Like, that he was going around asking people to kill. It's supposed to be Suge Knight and Tupac. But only Tupac was killed that night. Suge Knight obviously survived. And so he was like, well, I'm not paying you for anything because, I mean, you only half completed the job. Yeah, you didn't complete the whole thing. So then we get to, and Keefe D is set to stand trial in 2026 for the murder of Tupac Shakur. He now claims the proffer was made under duress. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. In March of 97, we're 6 months after Tupac's murder. Sean takes Billy to LA. Biggie.
Ooh.
What is happening? I can't read. Sean takes Biggie to LA to record the finishing touches of his Life After Death album, which is also so chilling. And
it wasn't. I think they said the album hadn't been named yet.
Oh, okay.
The album wasn't named yet, but he took him out to LA to finish recording, which I found to be an interesting choice because why do you have to go to LA?
Well, exactly. And Biggie didn't want to go to LA, according to everybody else in this docuseries. And everybody was like, we were told not to go to LA. Like, it was a whole big thing. But Sean was like, nope, you gotta go, Biggie, you gotta go. And he did not want to go. And he was incredibly like paranoid at this time. There's even video of him saying, I feel like people want to kill me. I feel like people are trying to kill me. Like he is talking about that. And he was supposed to have gone on a trip to London. He wasn't supposed to be in LA.
So he was supposed to be there that day for an award show. And then he was supposed to leave from the award show that night. I think like right after the show, he was supposed to leave and get on a plane to go to London. This whole thing had been set up. Kirk had set it up. They had been planning it for like months. Yeah. They're going to do this press junket because they're trying to like get his name out in other countries, essentially. And Diddy calls and he's like, cancel it. He tells Kirk, cancel it. Cancel the flights, cancel everything. We're not going.
Yeah, and he's like, why would we, like, we've been working for so long on this. Like, yeah. So then Biggie is killed. And I had not seen this footage before, but there's footage of Sean being like, well, I was just following Biggie's lead on tour. Like, he wanted to stay in LA. He wanted to cancel his trip, you know, like, basically, like, putting it all on him. And Kirk was like, that is absolutely not how it went. He made him stay. Biggie over and over and over was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be here. And he was like, no, you're staying. Then we find out that, okay, so I remember when the song came out with Sting, and I did like the song.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. But Sean then wants to make a big deal about like, this was my best friend. You know, we were best friends. We did everything together, all that kind of stuff, which a lot of people are saying was also not the case.
Not accurate. Yeah.
Not the way that it was. And then he wanted to make a big deal about throwing a huge funeral for him. And it became this like big fanfare thing and whatever. Well, they say in this that he took that money out of Biggie's estate. Like he essentially had him pay for his own funeral, and he made it, again, centering himself. Made it this huge event, and Biggie had to pay for it himself.
Which means Biggie's kids didn't get anything from it. His mom didn't get anything from it. His wife didn't get anything from it. And I don't even know if they had any say in the funeral. Or if Diddy was just like, no, this is what we're doing.
And they may have thought at the time, like, oh, he's doing this for us. You know, they may not have
realized that they were paying for it.
What was going on. And it's just very interesting because just before he was assassinated, Biggie was supposed to be on the cover of Rolling Stone, which, again, if you are the record label, your artist being on the cover of Rolling Stone is a good thing.
Yeah, that's still good for you.
Not for Diddy. He was jealous. He was angry. He wanted to be the one on the cover, and Kirk said before all of this, like, you know, happened or whatever, he was like, pull that cover. I should be on the cover, because he was getting ready to come out with his own album. And sure enough, who appears on that cover but Diddy? So he ends up, so Biggie dies, Diddy gets the cover. And also Biggie was in the process of renegotiating his contract because now he's a bigger artist and he is asking for more things. And they did end up agreeing to these changes. But then he dies.
Well, they agreed to some of the changes,
And then
and then Diddy tells Kirk, "Hey, make it look like we gave him what he wanted. Make the changes more agreeable. Or we know we gave him what we wanted. We want you to change it back, to an agreement that's more favorable for Bad Boy, because at this point it's just royalties that we're getting. We're not getting any new music, right?" And he's like, his family's not gonna know. They're gonna think that this is the terms that we came to.
And hide it all in the middle of the agreement so it's not super obvious. And Kirk was like, I told him, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Because they had already signed. He had already signed it.
And he's like, that's when I was fired. And then of course, Diddy comes out with his song, I'll Be Missing You, and we will never unsee those dance moves.
The dance
on the
moves.
Stage.
Those were the moves. They were good. They were good moves.
Oh,
especially for someone who wanted to be a dancer.
I know. You know. Is the dancer in the room with us? Oops. Look,
Yeah.
and I say this now and I can't dance for but
Well,
I'm a
but you
self-aware
also don't
bitch,
tell-
okay?
But you also don't tell people that you're a dancer. And
Exactly.
you don't charge them to let you dance in their music videos.
Exactly.
So there's that. But that is the end of part 1. We ran a little long because we're yappers. So sorry. But next episode, we are going to cover episodes 3 and 4 of the Diddy doc. And we're going to take a deep dive into some other kind of topics that this whole thing brings up. And if you haven't watched the documentary, I would encourage you to. I found it to be very interesting. Clearly biased, but you knew that going in. I don't think 50 Cent makes any illusions that it's not a biased documentary.
No, he's like, I hate that guy.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Anyway, you should check it out, and you should come back next week so you can hear the next part of it.
Yeah,
we will
and if
see.
you're a patron, you get part 2 right now. It's ready for you.
That's right, you do. Another reason to join the best Patreon of all the Patreons
In the world.
because we put out so much content, you guys.
Yes.
So much. And you're going to want it all.
Yep.
But we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.